In this playlist, we're going to be covering HillShade. In this specific video, it's just going to be an introduction to HillShade. I'll try to make this quick so you can decide whether this is something you're going to be using or not. You might have found this playlist because your terrain and your overlays do not match up. If so, you're in the right spot. So let's talk about HillShade and what it is and how it can help you. So first of all, what is HillShade? First of all, this is something that Justin 9926, that's his Discord name, came up with. Pretty cool what he figured out here, and he got a little help from AT, who's the LiDAR guru on this. So if you end up using this, be sure to thank those guys. But essentially what HillShade is, it's a 2D image of your terrain, and an example of one is to the right here. It's just an image, it's just a JPEG, but you can use that JPEG inside of Inkscape, and you can also use it inside of Photoshop. So why would we need to do that? Well, one is if you find out, it might be one of the reasons you're here in this video series, that your satellite overlays don't exactly match your terrain, they're just off a little bit, you can use HillShade to match those up precisely inside of Photoshop. And one of the videos in this series is going to show you how to do just that. Another thing it can be useful for is once you start splining an Inkscape, and if you're watching this video, you may or may not have started splining an Inkscape. And let's say you've got some trees or some heavy foliage or some shadows in particular areas. You can pull in your HillShade in Inkscape and potentially use that to mark some of the areas like creeks, any tee boxes, and bunkers that you might not be able to see in those satellite overlays. So that's the second use case. There might be some other use cases that I just haven't thought of yet, so be creative. So how do we do this? How do we create a hillshade? It's actually, creating the hillshade is pretty simple. We just do it inside of QGIS. So at this point, I'm assuming that you've gone through and you've created your LiDAR. If you had somebody else do it for you, you might have to go back for them and have them do a hillshade for you. It might cost you a few extra bucks, but this is one of the advantages of doing LiDAR yourself. So we're going to do this inside of QGIS. And it is a very similar process to capturing the satellite overlays. Remember when you went through and you captured your Bing, you captured your Google, maybe you did the extra stuff and did the Apple Maps. Same exact process, just a few extra drop downs that you need to, we'll talk about. But then it's just like the same, they're going to be captured in TIFF, and then you need to convert them to JPEGs. And you do that using those same BAT files, all right? So let's go on to the next video where we will create our hillshade.